We got a 2007 Lincoln pickup. Customer complaint on this one. I didn't talk to the customer directly, but talked to another guy that talked to him. Is the door locks would not lock, and that's what it's doing now. Not work correctly. I don't know if there's power window issues. Well, they work now. Some instrument cluster. I don't know if there's instrument cluster issues or not, but I know one thing I remember for sure is the door locks weren't working correctly, and the security stuff like the key fob to unlock and lock the vehicle, which is this guy right here. And it looks aftermarket, but it has Fomoco on it, Ford Motor Company. So they say that wasn't working either. Yeah, it's definitely not working for that. So I'm like, okay. Well, that button works. Unlock. Lock, but it's not actually locking the door locks. Anyways. So I'll put the key back in the ignition here. And I noticed it's got this module down here. And it looks aftermarket, but I don't believe it is because it's got Fomoco on it anyways. Or maybe it's an add-on later. But anyways, so I do a full system scan. I used IDS before, but I wanted the topology. What I don't have communication with is the VSM, Vehicle Security Module. Well, that's the one, the fob I just showed you, which is, I would imagine that module there controls the door locks and stuff, right? So if we go to report, our battery voltage is a little low. So we're gonna have some battery voltage load codes. But the instrument cluster, battery voltage low, don't care. Don't care about the ignition key and circuit, but we have a CAN, controller area network, communication bus fault, receive error in the instrument cluster, and a UPB communication bus fault. And then battery voltage low, don't care about that. Battery driver seat module, UPB bus fault. Don't care about those two. Don't care about that. So the UPB bus, the reason I'm concentrating on that is this vehicle. So the instrument cluster looks like the gateway on this thing because it talks to your UPB, your UART based protocol, and it also talks to the high-speed CAN. So if I go back in here, the instrument cluster has a UPB bus fault and a receive error, and the driver seat module has a UPB fault. So let's take a look at these codes, and let's look at the wiring diagram first. So I have this schematic pulled up from the other day when I started looking at it. All right. This camera focuses. So instrument cluster, this is UPB, vehicle security module, UPB. They all go in. Oh, look at that. That's why. Instrument cluster, vehicle security module ties into the driver seat module, but it also ties into the HVAC module if it's electronic, automatic temperature control, and it goes to your UBP pin 3. Now, I don't know if this has manual or auto temp control. It has auto. He might have had a complaint with that too. I don't even see it on this thing listed for temperature. But that doesn't mean it's not there, or we gotta see how it's talking. It's just, you know, we're using aftermarket auto for this part for topology. Anyways, so this is not power and ground, this is just communication. Instrument cluster, UPB, vehicle security module, UPB, driver seat module, UPB, those are our issues, and the only one left is the HVAC module, electronic temperature control. goes to pin 3. That's your communication bus. Let's look at the definition of this code now. Oh, and another thing I noticed, the interior lights don't even turn on. And we got the door open, key on, engine off. You can have the key off. That's why it's so dark in here. So just another note of the customer's complaint. So I'm going to approach this a little bit different. Well, than service data. Well, kind of, I guess. So we got a 1900 or 1950 UBP communication phone and a 1900. They're both in the instrument cluster. Well, if you look at the service data here, if you go to U1900 instrument cluster, CAN communication bus file, go to this section. Then it tells you, it just takes you to the communications network, description, operation, how it works, how the bus works, and all this stuff. And diagnose and testing. We're going to just talk about that as we go through this. I'll see if there's anything here that'll really help us. But I already have a plan what I want to do. What I want to do is check power and ground, because what we know for sure is we got our symptoms. Door locks don't work. We don't have communication to the vehicle security module. Interior lights ain't working. So what I want to do is I want to check power and ground to this module. See if we have power and ground to the module, whatever module that is, vehicle secure module, if it's that one. See if that's good, and then check our bus wiring. Once we get that back, I imagine all this will be good as well. So let's look up this module next. All right, so we need to find the location of the VSM, vehicle security module. And it shows it, and this is a 4-door, on the back left, which is back in here, not up there, which that's definitely aftermarket up there. So we need to concentrate back here. And then once we get to that, we can go to this, they call it the remote keyless entry and alarm system. We have our power and grounds. Where the hell's my cursor at? I'm trying to film into this. So vehicle security module, get your powers, your grounds, we want to check all that. It's different power distribution. And then if you look at the schematic 2, there's 3 of these guys. Vehicle security module, your door ajar switches, which is what we're talking about. And then you go to the 3rd one here. And then you got your UPB, which is going to pin 3 to the other networks. Your keypad, unlock relays, motors, all that stuff. So let's find that module first. And we're going to just check there. We're going to go right to that. Check power, ground, and UPB with a scope. If we have power, ground, and UPB, we've got a bad module. If we have, we don't have power, we got a power issue. Don't have ground, we got a ground issue. We don't have communication up to it, we got a communication issue. We need to get to that first. That, I'm not sure what that is. It's definitely aftermarket, the more I look at it. But we need to get back to that module next. All right, to get to it, here's the removal replacement for a super cab and crew cab. Even if it's a regular cab, it's still behind here. Kind of like the Dodges with the RAFH radio frequency hub. Okay, vehicles built before 12 of 06 have 3 electrical connectors as shown to the VSM. Sure, this is, let's see. Yeah, 10 of 06. What's an 07? So, it's built before 12 of 06. It has 3 electrical connectors as shown. Boom, boom, boom. One looks like an antenna. Don't hold me to that. Yeah. No, with one of them being used for an external tire pressure monitoring system. And then notice there's TPMS lights on this dash. And the remote keyless entry antenna. Okay. Vehicles built after that have 2. Which is an internal. Okay, so this is going to have 3. The removal. Yeah, if you want to replace, you got to do a PMI. But we can't even talk to it, so it don't matter. Blah, blah, blah. Remove the rear seat backrest. So we got to remove the rear seat backrest to even get to this thing. So I'll see if I have enough time to do it now, because I got to be at another shop here this morning, or I don't know if this be a part 1 video and there'll be a part 2, kind of go from there, because I got to be at another shop here shortly. We may have them pull the seat and then we'll come back. Only because I got to go to another shop, but we'll see here. Alrighty, this thing is an entire seat, so we're going to have the shop, remove the seat, because I got to be at another shop here. They're going to remove that seat, and then we're going to get in there. And I can see corrosion down in there. You know, maybe this windshield's leaking, this back window's leaking, and getting water down in there and causing issues with that module. We need to get to that. I don't think the problem's up here. I think this is something else. It's definitely aftermarket. I mean, that's not factory there, that's wrapped wire. So that could just be for an aftermarket RK, remote keyless entry, but we need to get to talk to that VSM so all this other stuff works. Or did they replace that module? Or is that one in the back been bad and then they went to this? Which, I'm not a fan of aftermarket stuff at all, but for stuff like this. But we'll talk to the shop and go from there. But before I finish part 1 here, before I take off, you can see this aftermarket remote start system with deluxe vehicle security and keyless entry module. It's like a remote start system aftermarket. See, they got a bunch of wires. They ran down there. They ran up there. Definitely aftermarket there. The LED light, aftermarket relay. So, and whatever this thing is. So yeah, since I'm here, I'm on pin 3. I'm just using my bus inspection. I'm on pin 3, and you can see we do have a square wave. No, we're not. We're just checking the whole bus from this DLC port, but we're not. We'll basically see if anything's shorted or short the ground or voltage, which we don't have. You see here, bias voltage is 8.5 volts, going down to 900 millivolts. So, put a trigger on here. But, like I said, we need to get that back seat out, check power, grounds, and the bus, and then go from there. That'll be it for part 1 of this video. Alright, I know I said I was going to make part 1 and 2, but this is going to still be part 1. So we got access to the vehicle security module. I unplugged this connector here. That's the VSM behind the seat there. And then we're going to do here is we want to check our power and grounds, because right now I have a topology pulled up still, and we still have no comp to the VSM on the UPB fault or bus. So we'll go back to this connector 3008 A, pin A, light green and yellow. A, light green and yellow, voltage applied at all times, overload protected. And that's the blue one, which I have. So let me get this set up to check power and grounds. Alright, so if you look here, I got my power on 3008, which is a blue connector, and my ground on 3008. And I'm checking right here with my multimeter on my Autel Ultra, power and ground. I'm not load testing it, but I'm just checking power and ground. And if you look here, I have voltage. A little low because the battery's dead. It's got a parasitic draw, they said, and it's probably from this VSM or the aftermarket one up front. We got voltage. Now let's go look at the other power and ground. I'm going to go to 3000B, which is the gray one. Let me check power there and ground to there. So I checked the other one here, the other connector, the green one, power and ground. And we got 13.47, which we have a battery maintainer on it. The other one we didn't get that. If I go back here, I'm checking this one to here, which it don't matter. It's a signal ground and a power ground, it says. But either way, I don't have . 。  . 。 . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . I got 13.5 volts, because our snap-on power supply. Let's check that other one again. So I'm back in the first connector we did. We got 11.93, almost 12 volts. Which is this one. Let me go back to this one. So then I go back to this one. I'm using the same ground as the blue, but go back up here to the green one, and we got good battery voltage or charge voltage. It's only because we got the snap-on maintainer on, hooked up. So we do have a voltage drop of 1.5 volts, a little bit more than 1.5 volts. Is that causing issues? We'll take a look. So if you look in here, we got powers coming in. This one, 3000B, we have better voltage coming in than this one. They both come from the same fuse box, 2 separate fuses from the central junction box, which is in the cab. Then your ground's down here. Power ground, driver switch sense ground, and then your signal ground. So we do have a voltage drop. Let's just scope the bus real quick and see where we're at with that. All right, so I'm gonna hook on my scope here, but if you look on the UPB connector 3000B pin 3 violet, which is this one right here, 3000B pin 3's violet UPB bus. I have it hooked up and I'm taking it to ground, not with the scope, with the multimeter. We got voltage jumping around because it is a bus, so it's just taking a root mean square. Let's hook up the scope. Pin 3 there is the UPB bus. This focuses. Let's just hook up a scope to that and see what it reads next. Alright, so now I got my oscilloscope on channel A, and I'm just power or ground and the UPB bus, I mean the pin 3 violet wire. And you can see we got a UPB bus signal. Now this is with the module unplugged. You got battery voltage going down to basically 0 volts. And we've seen on the meter it's going to be an average root mean square. This is actually showing everything. Yeah, 13 volts. Roughly going down to 1 volt. Put a trigger on here. So there's your message, a square wave. So we got messages going to it. So it's looking for a message. It's sending it. And that's why I believe all these messages here, they're just lines or a pattern waiting for a message back. So there's only 2 things left that I believe. Either A, that voltage drop is causing issues, so we can apply voltage to it and see if we got calm. That's it, cool. If not, we got a bad module. Alright, so what I did there is I took a power probe, and if you remember just a little bit ago, this light green with the yellow, we had a voltage drop of 1.5 volts. I took a power probe and gave it voltage. All the lights in the truck came on, and now I have calm again to the VSM. The VSM tire pressure sensor fault. Well, yeah, we got to probably reprogram it or whatever. Remember earlier in this video, it showed 3 connectors. 1, 2, and the third one, what the hell is it? Right there is your TPMS one. So I took power away. Let's just see if it still talks, even though the lights are still on. As soon as I gave it power, everything, that module clicked and everything came on. No calm. So my buddy, we call him Steve-O, is going to film. Right here. Follow me. I'm going to take this power probe. So I got 13 volts on it. Probably can't see that. I'm going to go in here and touch this. Heard stuff click. Lights come on. Show them the lights. Now go hit scan again while you film it. We should have a code in there. Should go. Now hit quick erase. Hit quick erase. hit it again because I lost power here. Hit quick erase again. Okay, now hit fault scan. And then we're going to let it finish up. And then keep filming. I'm going to hit report. P1000, we already know, we don't care about that. UPB bus fault, instrument cluster, tire pressure. I had a bus fault because I let off when I was using my power probe. I didn't have a good connection. I kept letting off in there, but I was probing it like this and I would move around and stuff. So I got it on 12 volts stuck there, and you can hear when I put it in, it's clicking in there. And you can hear everything chiming. So we got to fix that power issue. And to fix that power issue, look at the schematic here. If you go back, which is going to be this one right here, which was the yellow and green, we have a voltage drop coming from this fuse. We're going to look at that fuse first, check on both sides, see if that's good. If not, we're going to go to that connector on the central junction block and go back and work our way backwards. All right, so we got to this fuse right here, 10730 amp. That's a suspect. Well, not the fuse, but that circuit. And I pulled it out. Nothing looks wrong with it to the naked eye. We're going to take our power probe here and check it. Down here. Probably can't really see. 13 volts on that one. Nothing on that one. So we don't have a voltage drop coming into it. So I'm going to give it voltage now. Hang on a second. So I gave part of the other side of the fuse. Of course, we have no comm, which that would just prove we have a bad fuse, but it's not. So we have a no comm there. So if you look up here, our problem is going to be, we know it's all good up to here. It's either going to be at this connector here, this connector there, which we already checked, or this wire. So it's probably behind this battery box or this wire in here that's bad. We have a voltage drop. Suspect would be behind this battery junction box or central junction box. We look at that. We just got to find that problem, fix it, and then this vehicle will be good to go. Then an aftermarket security system they put in. We talked to the customer. That is aftermarket. However, once you fix this other issue, everything will work just fine. All right, so I got to that fuse box. It's the next day here. This is when we're losing voltage on the yellow and green right there. I got to this connector here, which the location is right there, behind it. 6-pin connector. I pull this up. That's fuse F107 30 amp. If we go pin 3, white, green, and yellow, right there. So the back of it's right there. It's a 6-pin right there. Let me give that power quick or check it. I'm trying to film and do it at the same time. So I got battery voltage. Now I have the charger off. So even if I give a voltage, it's the same thing. Nothing happens. So this tells me this fuse box is good. Tells me the wire to the back is bad. So again, it tells me that this fuse box here is good, but the wire from here to there is bad somewhere. That's where we're having a voltage drop, from here to there. So either 2 ways to fix this. Try to find that wire, run a new one. I guess there's 3 ways. Try to find that wire where it's broken at, or not handle the amperage actually, because you can get voltage there, but they ain't gonna handle the amperage. That's why I had a voltage drop. So either find that problem in the wire, run a new wire, or piggyback it off something else. We'll have to talk to the customer and see which one they want to do. And if you look, all of this aluminum, the wire harness comes down into here. It goes to the back. Then it comes back here. Probably comes up under here. We'll have to try to find that. Anyways, I just gave this power again down here. Everything came back to life, calm and everything. So we really got 3 options. Try to find that wire. It's going to take some time. Run a new wire or jump power off something else. And we'll give the shop and the customer that option, see which one they want to do. So that'll be it for this video. All right, so pulling this, well, there's your security module. Pulling this back. I know I said it was done earlier with the video, but pull this plastic piece back here. You can see the light green with the white, light green with the yellow, bunch of green crusties on there. So that's probably where the voltage drop is. Fix that and should be good to go. So we fixed that wire. Everything works now. We got calm. All the door locks, security works. So that's what it was. I believe water got in there from here in Idaho, you know, in and out with snow and stuff. But yeah, it's fixed and everything's good to go. So that is it for this video.